Good evening, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Urbana Community Development Commission. We have an agenda for this evening. So with that, I now call the meeting to order. And the next on our agenda is roll call.
Fred Cobb.
Here.
Janice Bankston.
Here.
Chris Diana.
Here.
Jerry Moreland.
Here.
Lisa Beth Searing. And Heinz Silvis. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, next we have approval of the minutes. And the minutes are from July the 18th. So we'll take a moment and review those, after which I'll entertain a motion for approval or corrections.
Actually, the minutes are from June 24th.
Hmm?
The minutes are from June 24th.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing here, I believe. Right, yeah. Thank you. Right. June 24th.
Fred, I do wish to make a comment about the notes. I wasn't here that night,
Yes.
and these notes were so well done that they brought me up to date. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks to the staff,
Yes.
Kelly.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. After review of the minutes, would someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any comments, questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the minutes of June 24th, 2014 are approved as written. Okay, next we have petitions and communications, but there's no one in the audience this evening, so we'll go ahead with the staff report. Kelly?
Before you is a copy of the staff briefing. I did not get it in the mail, so you have that. And basically, it just shows overview of things that staff have done. Regarding HUD activity, we did receive an email from HUD recently that they have released the new low moderate income summary data, which we've been waiting for. And they also issued 2 companion CPD notices that explain the transition to using this data. And so we're supposed to start using it, and this information, I believe, is what we can use now to update our CD target area map, which we will be working on, hopefully with maybe some interns in our department. So so that was good news. And then it just shows the different activities and tasks that staff did, and meetings attended. So that's what we've been doing since the last meeting.
Okay. Any questions? Well, thank you very much, Kelly. We'll go ahead and...
Excuse me, Fred, just one quick question. Sure. On the demolition of 301 Thompson, it says the bids have been received and that's in progress. Under whole housing or a housing rehab coordinator item.
Yes,
I was just wondering if you could give us an idea what the cost of demolition on that turned out to be.
no, I don't remember what that was, but I can certainly find out.
If you could.
And let you know.
I would appreciate that.
I
Yep,
can do that. I'll make a note.
thanks. Kind of helpful to know what, that's moved a little from what it used to be years
Mm-hmm.
ago, I think, and I'd be curious just to know about what that's running for a demo on a house
Yeah.
like that.
It may, because of environmental review
Mhm.
policies and stuff, we may have to, which is why we're here on our agenda item.
Right.
May have to delay on that, but I can
Sure.
certainly find out the information from Randy.
I'd appreciate
And,
that. Thanks.
Okay. Next, we have old business. We have no agenda items under old business. Any commissioners have anything under old business? If not, we'll proceed to new business. Under new business, we have to consider a resolution approving modifications to the City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium fiscal year 2012-2013 annual action plan. This is the home county TBRA as tenant-based rent assistance amendment. Would you like to explain the situation?
I will try. Per the home regulations, home funds, they have to be committed within 48 months of signing a contract with HUD. So the deadline for our fiscal year 12-13 funds is August 31st, 2014. That was roughly the time that we signed the contract with HUD 2 years ago. So since 301 Thompson, which we had come to you before, is delayed due to requirements per HUD policy for environmental reviews, the only home activity that would meet the deadline and also comply with the environmental review request process is the tenant-based rental assistance program. So and we also contacted Darlene Kleppel, who is the social service director at the Regional Planning Commission, to find out if their agency would be able to take the additional money, because they already have a TBRA no limits program, and she said that they would be able to do that. So that helps us with our commitment. And it also, it furthers the goals that are in our consolidated plan to assist households with incomes that are below 60%. So with that, I will try to answer any questions that you might have. If not, I will definitely get those answers for you. So.
Okay, any questions? I had one, and the third paragraph there, it says the proposed amendment to allocate an additional $115,000 to CCRPC will allow them to continue the program for an additional year.
At least, it could be more, but it would at least give them more funding for at least a year. It depends on how many clients that they have as to how much would be spent in that that year.
Okay, question, where would the $115,000 come from?
It is unobligated home money that we have, actually. It's not taking it from any
Other program?
other program, yeah.
Is unallocated home
Just like
money?
unobligated money that we have.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, what is the plan for 301 East Thompson?
Well, we're still working on the environmental on it. It's been, with Jen being on vacation, we have one of our interns in our department who is continuing to work on the review process. There's like a checklist and all this stuff that you have to go to. And so once she gets back, then we will look at this to see what's the next step. But we need to have the review finished first.
Is there reason to be concerned about environmental?
No, it's just,
problems?
it's just something that's a requirement. Any entitlement that gets federal funds, be it a community development block grant or home, you're required to do an environmental review of all your activities and projects that basically you have in your annual action plan. So and there's a lot of activities that are considered exempt or categorically excluded, meaning that there's no concern. So, but when you have like maybe new construction or demolition, it's a little bit more that you have to do. Go through this
It's
checklist.
been on the agenda for quite a while now. I wonder why it takes so long.
Because of the way that HUD interprets the regulations, and therefore, and with staff having recently gone to the training, they found out more about the requirements and HUD's interpretation and their policies. So, so that's why there's more that we have to do with environmentals.
I looked at the property, and I certainly didn't see any reasons to.
Right. Well, staff are also working on other environmental reviews as well. In fact, like Urbana Townhomes, we're working on that one as well. So, like I said, it's pretty in-depth doing an environmental review. You have to go to like websites, and you have to get information, you have to go on site, more than maybe what we had to do in the past with environmental reviews.
I guess I'm going back to, I'm sorry, were you done? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm not really understanding the amounts here.
Okay.
Okay, we're allocating an additional $115,000,
Mm-hmm.
which is more than we normally allocate in a year anyway. Normally we allocate, if I'm reading this correctly, $90,000. So we're more than doubling our allocation. Is that correct?
No, it's actually just maybe about 20,000 more than normal.
Well, no. Normally we allocate $90,000, which I assume we already have allocated this year. And now we're allocating an additional 115, which is more than double the way I counted. But I'm trying to figure out where that comes from. The only thing that's mentioned here is there may be a delay on 301 Thompson, and we certainly hadn't allocated $115,000 to 301 Thompson.
Right.
So where is this money coming from?
The 115 from what I gather, like I said, it's when I worked with Jen and we were working on this before she left, and she looked at reports saying that we were down and needed to commit this. We do have unobligated or unallocated because we have carryover and stuff like that, so we do have.
Right, but we've had budgets come through here regularly with everything, every nickel being allocated and looking for additional dollars to try and find them.
Well, there was recently an amendment, it was a budget, and those go straight to council, that had carryover and.
Right, which I
and-
thought we already took care of.
Right.
Allocating, and this would appear to be yet another
Well, this is-
115,000?
Well, it's included in that carryover, but like I said, per the regulations, you have to have your money committed to a project.
Well, I
So,
understand that
right.
completely. Maybe I'm not asking the question clearly. We've had budgets,
Mm-hmm.
we've had additional unallocated funds, which we've then allocated to other things. Okay?
Right.
So my question would remain, what was this $115,000 earmarked for before that didn't get done, that it's now become unallocated? Because we had no unallocated funds. We had no surplus funds. We had minus funds. So I'm just not figuring out, where did this come from? And if it was previously allocated to other things beyond 301 Thompson, I'm curious as to what those things were that didn't get done or aren't done or haven't been funded. I mean, we aren't rolling in excess money. We're always looking for additional money, so I'm just puzzled as to where this came from.
Well, like I said, when I met with Jen and I asked her about this, she's the one that indicated that it was unobligated money. So what I guess I need to do is check with her if there were specifically any projects I'm not aware of that were defunded or that didn't go through. I can certainly-
I'm not either, that's why I'm kind of
Right.
puzzled. I mean, we've
Right.
been kind of looking in the couch cushions for money, and to find out that there's 115,000 floating around that has no home is kind of puzzling.
Was 80,000 set aside for Thompson? Is that part of the 115?
There was money set aside, but it wasn't that much
Yeah,
Right.
80,000.
for the,
But that doesn't explain the 115.
And you're saying, how did it become unobligated?
It's possible that the 80 is part of that.
well, that,
Again-
the 80, but yeah, the 80 was for the demo, which has been
Right.
delayed, but
Right.
also for the construction of the Habitat home, which, is that also delayed then, the funding for the HUD house? Are we defunding that?
We're delaying it because it was going to be built on, well, I think there were 4 lots that they were looking at. So at least a couple of them would be delayed.
Well, that's what I was kind of
So-
wondering, because 80,000 is more than was involved in the Thompson project.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Thompson project is the one with a environmental impact that's delaying it, what's delaying the other Habitat projects if we're defunding part of those too?
Well, 2 of them were in relation to 301, it's like 301 and 303. So
Right, that's right.
Right.
Okay.
And then I think, if I remember correctly, we're looking at, of the 4, at least like one of them giving to Habitat. I think it's the one in Champaign. So we're still looking at giving them the lots and having them build, but we're just delaying it to the fall, probably.
I don't understand how we're giving lots that we're unallocating the funds for within the same time frame.
I think,
I mean, don't we have to have the same budget entry for those lots when they get them?
well, I think what we're gonna look at is, we haven't received our 14-15 allocation yet. So there may be some funds
But
from
we
that.
already gave them those out of previous allocations. I'm I'm getting more puzzled rather than less, because I don't understand what we're not doing here
What
And
in
is-
order
I'm
to
sorry,
develop
I'm-
this 115.
Yeah.
what is a shortfall? I mean, you explain what it is, but I don't see how it refers to this.
I'm sorry, I don't have as much information as what I thought I had to give you this information. Part of it was trying to communicate while Jen was on vacation as well. So I thought that I had supplied enough information, but apparently I didn't. So I'm not, I can write down all your questions. I can get back with you on the answers to your questions. Unfortunately, I don't have some of the answers.
Okay. It seems like some of those answers might fall under the fiscal impacts and programmatic impacts, which is not really spelled out that much in those paragraphs. So, so what's going to happen now?
So we have to spend 115,000 or we lose it.
We have to commit it.
Commit it.
That means
Or we
committing
lose
it. Per regulations, yes, we would probably lose it if we don't commit it by, that's per the regulations, you have the 2 years, and,
August 31st? We'll have another meeting in August, right?
Yes, it would be the 26th, possibly, that date, or the 24th. I don't have my calendar in front of me for the August meeting.
Yeah, August 31st, it says the deadline is.
Well, Chris, could you, I was wondering, under our options, we can approve with changes, do not approve, or approve with modifications, or maybe approve with a contingency.
I guess personally, I kind of have a problem with all of those, because I just don't, there's just not enough information here to tell us this is about.
What's
I mean,
being-
it's going to a worthwhile spot, and certainly one doesn't want to lose funds, but
Right.
it's very unclear as to what's not being done as a result of this. Obviously, $115,000 worth of something, and 80,000 of it was not involved in that one site. That's what it says there, is that there was $80,000 for the demolition and construction of one single-family unit at 301 Thompson, but I
Yeah.
don't think that was the budget for that, as I recall. So there's more than just that one involved, and then there's another $35,000 worth of funds from somewhere else
Yeah.
also. So it's not that I'm opposed to it, but I don't know how to vote on it because I don't know what it is. So.
Well, we could vote on it, I imagine, contingent upon receiving a rational and clear explanation.
I'm sure that.
That sounds like a harsh
Yeah.
contingency.
I'm sure that Jen, if she was here, she would definitely be able to explain better than I am. And so I do apologize. So she will be back on August 6th. I mean, so I can certainly have her send an email to all of you, giving you more information than what I have, if that would be sufficient.
Yeah, from my purposes, I mean, it's clear where the funds are going to. What's, or the other side of the ledger is what's unclear as to where it's coming from and what we're not doing in that 115 that will have to be picked up later to do, I would assume. Because I am assuming that there's nothing in that, nothing in what we're not doing that wasn't previously approved to do, so therefore I assume we're gonna have to go back and pick up all those projects. And I just would like to know what they are.
This is a resolution.
Yes, that's the resolution.
Does it mention money at all?
No. I don't think the resolution has it in there.
Well, I would say
Okay.
that since the resolution is to approve the modifications, and the modifications are about money, it, in a sense, does have money in it.
But wouldn't you have to stipulate what they are, the modifications?
I think the way we often do these, since the modification is written up in the body of it, that what we're approving is what's written up there. And it's the modification is definitely money. It's taking $115,000 from one place and putting it someplace else. So that would
I
seem to
don't
be it.
see, though, in the resolution, anything about it.
That's a standard resolution
Yeah.
that the city
That's what?
uses. A standard resolution that the city uses for resident resolutions and ordinances.
Approving the modifications, and then whatever is in the modifications, which is in the body, is
Is
what
what's
we're
in the
sending
memo.
along. Yeah.
So would it be too late to wait till next meeting? Or not?
You said the next meeting is August.
Well, if it has to go to if it has to go to council,
City
then wouldn't it
council.
have to,
Yeah.
it would need 2 meetings in council to run through their process, right?
Yeah, it would, yeah, I think already,
too late.
it's put on for like the end of July, beginning of August for council.
Right, it would go to that, but then it would probably have to go to committee there too.
If you waited till August,
I'm meaning that it probably needs 2 council meetings to get completed and be modified.
right, it was the committee of the whole, and then
Yeah.
they discuss it, and they vote on it, and move it, forward it to council, and
Yeah.
then they actually vote on at council.
Yeah, so it probably needs to
Okay.
go in this one.
Yeah,
or it
we
won't get
would
there.
miss the August 31st
Yep.
deadline.
Well, we could just not approve it in its current form and have it go to council for their deliberation when they receive more information than what's here.
See, I'm confused when it says we're going to go down something that happened in 2012, 2013. And I know we make commitments for the future.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Very
going back in the past.
confusing.
Right, well, that part I can understand. It was last year's plan, and the funds need to be paid out by the end of August, and that's just what's
Yeah,
not gonna
it's-
happen
it's-
with
You have to
these
at least
with-
make the commitment,
Yeah.
not necessarily pay out the funds, but you have to have it committed into the system in
Right.
contracts or
So
have to be
regardless of
done.
what we would vote tonight, the council would have to do something.
They'd have to.
I would
Okay.
make, are you entertaining motion of some sort?
Yes, it
I
seems
can-
like we've discussed it
I
quite a
can make
bit.
some sort of a motion if you
I'll
want.
entertain a motion.
Okay.
All right.
I move that we send a resolution approving the modifications to the City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium Annual Action Plan to council with a recommendation to approve contingent upon detail of the sources of the funds. And an expanded program impact section.
Okay.
That's a long motion, but
Yes.
best I can do.
Okay.
Do you want to repeat that? Or should
No,
I
I
just
don't,
go ahead
I
and
don't want, I
second
don't
it?
want to, but I
I
will.
second it.
No, I recommend that we're sending it to
It's
him,
fine.
just pending a little detail, yeah.
And I'm sure that we actually, that Jen, and that we have the information. Unfortunately, I just didn't get that information. I thought that this would be enough information.
My
so,
theory
but-
is that since they need to vote on it anyway, if we don't have that expanded information, they should when they're
Yeah.
voting on it, so.
Yes.
Right. Okay, we have a motion to send the resolution to the city council contingent upon those things stated by Chris. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to send the resolution to city council with the contingencies so stated. Any further discussion? Comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. Ayes have it. The motion carries. Okay, that was our only item under new business. Does the commission have any other new business? Not. I now declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you.